Let me introduce you to a new word. It's a Hebrew word called Bittul, B-I-T-T-U-L. Essentially, it's suspending yourself and being absorbed by a reality that's greater than yourself. What we've been discussing in the previous spiritual antidotes, that discovering the real you is by suspending the outer you and allowing a higher reality to enter and we being absorbed by it. Let me give an example from my own life. For many years, I did something very unique. I was a student and an oral scribe of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson. He would speak on the Shabbat and holidays, and there were no recordings then, and no notes were taken. The only way to preserve what he said was through memory, to literally remember verbatim hours and hours of these dense, complicated talks. I was one of the few people who was able to do that. How do you do something like that? And we're not talking about just a few highlights. We're talking about yielding 100 pages at 5 hours of talks in detail, without redundancy. It was through absorbing. The mind has two dimensions to it. One of it is a processor and one is an absorber. Children absorb really well, like dry sponges, because they don't have preconceived ideas, they have no prejudices, they have no developed thoughts. As a matter of fact, they have none of that because of the clean slate. They absorb so well stories, events that happen. Try to teach an adult an alphabet, a new alphabet. Children, it's easy. Adults have a saturated sponge, so it's difficult for us to assimilate and integrate new information. We fit it in to what we already know, our preconceived structures. To remember well means to listen well. To listen well means to absorb well. To shut down the processor, which is the inclination of and temptation of every intelligent person to process information and only absorb. Like a judge and a jury, you don't want them processing until they first listen to all the evidence and all the witnesses. Or like when we do research. First you gather information, data, and then you process after you gather it all. Absorbing is that idea of bittul, the ability to put yourself aside, and even the intellectual temptation to want to understand, to want to connect it to other ideas, to answer questions you already have, and just be like that childlike, innocent, dry sponge that absorbs. When we achieve that, we ironically and paradoxically actually experience the real you, because you've given up the outer you and you allowed yourself to assimilate, to integrate a higher reality through bittul.